Hi guys, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the video number 364 and my name is Ajay. I've been running this channel from the last 2 years, and with your blessings, with your wishes, with your fantastic questions, we are progressing day by day, and there's no limit to the videos. As you can see, we are on the video number 364 today. So in this video we're going to talk about the Excel VBA event. Right, so I have a wonderful example to share with you which comes from one of my subscriber. Basically, we would like to sum the values of the lookups, but this is not basically a normal sum. This is a different sum, and so I got this question from Jackie, and Jackie has written this, shared this data, which I'm going to just show you in the Excel. And actually, what is this question is that, sir, this is the table. I want that if I enter any name which is in the table, like I enter Puneet in a particular cell, it will show me the sum of the Puneet values underneath it, 45 plus 65 plus 12. So I'm going to open the Excel right now, and I'm going to share it how we are, what we are talking about here. So guys, you can see in front of you, you have a table. I exactly copied the same table, and what we want to do is, if I just write here any name, not any name, actually the name which belongs to this table, for example Puneet. If I write here and press enter, you see that your macro should sum up the values which comes underneath this name which you are actually trying to look up. Okay, so it should not paste the entire range. If I write sumit, then it should give me the sum of 21, 88, 54, because afterwards there is a text, there is another name. How we actually have arrived to this, the program, how we have made this code. Now this is a very wonderful example. Not maybe you might not be never come across this kind of a problem, this kind of a situation, but it is good in terms of, from the learning perspective, it is very good, guys. So today we are going to make this code, and what I'm going to do is, I have already made the code, but I will start from the scratch, because this is a little different, this is a little tricky. If you see my Excel, first of all, let me clear one thing to you. I'm not going to make this code in the modules. We are going to talk about the event, because the reason is very simple. I tell you, this is basically the code where we have written everything, so I'm just going to delete it and we'll start from the scratch. Now if you don't have any idea about the event, what are the VBA events, then what I would suggest you to go to the channel, or maybe if you're watching the channel for the first time, please go ahead and click on the playlist. Here you will find here 44 different playlists on Excel VBA, Access and Access VBA. This channel is dedicated to those professionals or to those who want to excel in all these 4 subjects, who want to be a master in all these fields. Now what you need to do is, you need to find here a playlist which has actually called the event name. If you just go and search that, you would get to see that the playlist which I created long time back, Excel VBA events. So when you click on that, you will find the 3 videos. What you need to do, you need to watch 264 number video, which is on the basic levels. So go ahead and watch that and then come back to this video. There are other 2 videos as well, very wonderful videos, very useful. You can go ahead and watch that. In this video, I'm not really going to explain much on that. Still, I'll brief you on what are the events basically. So guys, events are actually written under the sheets or in the under this workbook. If you write anything in this workbook, that will be applicable to the entire sheet, all the sheet basically. We are going to restrict this code only to the sheet 1. So I click on the sheet 1, and this is where I'm going to write the code. Now you don't write the codes in the standard modules, because these are the self-driven predefined condition macros. So here what you will write, for example, you choose the condition from here, you select the worksheet, and then here you will have all the events coming here one by one. Change, deactivate, a lot of things are there. Now for example, we have selected this selection change. So what happens if you write any code here, just to give you the brief about it, the idea about it, if I just write the message box, say hi, then what happens, it will not wait for your button. You cannot run this using the button. What will happen, let me put the break code here. Now selection change means that any point in time in the sheet 1, if anything gets changed, for example, if I select this cell, you see that I am selecting, there is something change happening, so this event will fire automatically. Right, automatically. These are the self-triggered macros. They are the self-driven events. So if I just select this, you see that every time I select any cell, this will be, the macro will fire. Okay, obviously we don't need this kind of a macro. What we need is, we need that any point in time, if in this cell, which is the B13, my value changes, because if right now it is Sumit, if somebody is going to write here Ravi or Puneet or any other name, immediately the macro should run. Okay, so we have an event which we can use from here, and that's the event name is the change. You write here the change. You don't need this. Now change actually is different from the selection change. Change means that any point in time you are changing the value. It's not the selection change. For example, if I just put the breakcode here, see this, I'm selecting any cell and then there's no macro getting fired because it's not a selection change, it is a sheet change. So in the sheet change, if I just go ahead and here and write 10, see what happens. Immediately this macro will fire. It is firing obviously for the reason that there is a value change happens in your cell. So this will run. Right now we have not recorded anything here, so we have not written anything here, so obviously you don't see any change, right? So that's what we want to do. So if you write here 88, that means the empty cell is changed to 88, and automatically when you press enter, this will take you to this event, right? Because I put the breakcode, that's why you're able to see this. Otherwise, if I just remove the breakcode and I'm just again gonna put some message box, for example, I'm gonna put here J, let's say. Now see what will happen. The moment you write here 100, your empty cell is changed to 100 and you will have your J coming here. The moment you write here Puneet, what will happen? You will have your change happen. This macro will fire. Now the point is, guys, the important point of this, now if I delete this, again a change is happening. If I remove this 88, changing the value from 88 to 0. So this, every time this will run. But do you actually need that? I don't need that. I need this only on this particular cell. If any changes happens in the B13, then it should actually work. Otherwise, it should not work at all. This is the special case, right? So how you're going to do that? Here we're going to put the condition. So there is a VBA word which is called the target. You're going to define that if the target address, if the address of the cell is going to be B13, okay, B13, so you got to put it this within the quotes, and don't forget to write the dollar signs, because that's how the absolute referencing the Excel uses, the VBA uses. Then we will like to do something, so we will like to run the code. Now what is the code? That's we're gonna come a little later, but first of all let us go ahead and check. So else exit sub, else don't stop the macro, and if. Now what this line means, this means that any point in time if the change happens which is not B13, then it would immediately go and close the macro. For example, I'm going to change this 12 to let's say 3. I press enter. You know that 3 is not actually B13, because if you look at your target cell, it is going to tell you H5, because in the H5 you changed the value. So H5 obviously is not equals to B13, so what will happen? It will go in the else mode and it will stop the macro. Right, so that means that this macro will run only when you have the B13 selected. Now when the B13 selected, what exactly you want to do? That's again the next question. So what we want to do is, I'll give you the idea before I write the code. We would like to pick up this value and we would like to find it here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to record the macro. I record the macro, and then I select this H to H and I use Control F, and here I will write Sumit or whatever the value user will enter here, and I find it out. The moment you find it out, it shows you on the Sumit part, and then you can stop the recording. Now once it finds the Sumit, your VBA will go to the next cell, and from there it will run the loop. So we're going to run the loop until either we are on the text value or on the blank cell. Any condition which comes first, the macro should stop. So obviously if you find a name, you do not want to go further. If you want to, if let's say there is no name here, if it is a 55, then what should happen? Just first of all get rid of this. Let me remove the breakcode here, reset the code. Yeah, so now if you're finding the Sumit, then it should go here 21, 88, 54, 55, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And then after 3, you want to stop the macro because the next cell is blank. So this is what we want to do, right? So let me undo it. So guys, this is the thing we want to do. Okay, so what is the first thing I want to do is, I go to my project explorer, and the macro which we have recorded, a small macro, a single line macro, is called H to H. I'm going to copy this, or maybe I can cut this and I back to the sheet 1. Remember, I'm writing this in the sheet 1, so it is going to be applicable only for the sheet 1. Okay, so if you want to apply it in the entire workbook, then please go in this workbook and write the code here. Okay, so this is the code now in front of you. We don't need all these parameters, so I'm simply going to delete that. To make this code short, what I'm trying to do is, I'm just going to actually look the value, which is the Sumit. This is fine, and in your case it is not going to be the Sumit, because every time the user will change the value, so you will use the target dot value. It is a VBA word, it's not a variable, remember, right? Target, especially we use it in our event. events, you have this target. You cannot use this target word in the module. For example, if you go in the module and you write here target and you think that the dot operator would give you some methods or properties associated with this target, you can see that it's not going to give you. Okay, so this is implemented here in the sheets only. So once we have done that, what is the next thing you want to do? Obviously, if right now if I run this code, Puneet will be found, and that will be in the H2. So I want to go to the H3, obviously, right? So from here you will write here that active cell dot offset me by 1 row and column, and then you will write the code. Do while your active cell is not blank, you will write active cell dot value is not equals to blank and keep running this loop. If you don't have any idea about the do loops and the if conditions, guys, please go ahead and check out the video on Excel VBA loops. Okay, you will find the information about these loops. So I'm going to run this loop now until what? Obviously until you have the blank cell. Okay, but in the meantime also, suppose now we are searching the Puneet, but then I don't want to actually cover all these values because they are not related to Puneet, right? I want to stop here. So we'll put the condition here that while running the loop also, you also check that if the number is actually numeric, if the value in the active cell is numeric, we would like to sum it. If it is equals to true, then what I would do, I would actually store the value. I'm going to create one variable called store, and I'm going to write here store equals to store plus and the value active cell dot value. Okay, and then from that you should go to the next cell because you have to run the loop again. You will have to capture the next 10 also. So you're going to move to the next cell. Okay, just in case if the value is not numeric, if it is a text, then in the else mode what you need to do is you simply need to exit the macro. You need to exit from the macro, and I'm going to write here end if. That's it, because you don't need that. You don't want to run the macro because once you have the text entered here, then obviously you would like to stop there. Okay, so let me just hide this as well so that we can have a good look. We can have the code coming clear. Okay, so we are done with this, and guys, I think this is good to go. We can see here, I can put the code here, and we can see that how it is going to work. And I also define the store as integer or long, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and run this code. So I'm going to change this to Sumit. For example, I press enter. You see that now the changes which I have done, that the changes are done in the B13. So obviously your target address will be the B13. So this condition will satisfy and it will go in the then mode. Then it's going to find that the target value, which is Sumit, finds the Sumit, and from the Sumit now we're going to move the one cell down, and I'm on the 21 now. This is a blank value, of course it is not. So it's going to check further. It is a text because can also be non-blank cell. It is a non-blank cell, number is also non-blank cell. So we're going to further put the condition, and 21 is not actually a text, it is a number. So this condition satisfies. So if this condition satisfies, active cell which is 21, I'm going to add this in the store, which is right now empty because you declared the store and it is going to be empty. So the moment you execute this line, you will have 21 here, which is perfect. Now we should actually go to the next line. Now we are on the 81. You can see here the code will again run. Is this blank? Of course it is not blank. We have 88. Is this a number? Yes, it is a number. So what will happen? This 88 will be added with the store. It was 21. So the previous value is also going to be carry forwarded, and finally we have the 109. Again, it will go to the next cell, which is 54. Again, you will have a new sum. Now it will be very interesting to see here. What is the next value? It's Ravi, right? So in the Ravi, it is a text. So what will happen? This else will run. Okay? So in the else, the macro will stop here. But before it stops, you want to actually print the value. The new value, which is in the C3. Right now in the C3, in the C13, sorry, I have here 163, which is wrong. I should have deleted that, but that's fine. Right now I'm just going to write here store. That's it. So we run it, and I'm going to just pull it back here because I changed the condition while running this macro. So there we go. Now you see that answer came here as 163, which is perfect, but it did not go to the exit cell. Why? This is very important. This line actually is inviting this event to run again. Why? Because in the C13 you're changing something. It was empty and then you change it to 163. So what happened, instead of going to the exit sub, it again went to this part because the event is going to run again. Now this time obviously your cell address is C13, which is obviously not equals to B13. So what will happen, it will go in the else mode. If I just run this line, it goes in the else and it exits from there, and now it comes back to this exit, and that's it. This is what we actually want to do it. is how you can make this, code. Now if I just run this again, for example, I'm going to run this as a Ravi. Now see what will happen. We're going to run this code. Now this is very interesting because Ravi is on the last, it's actually the last name. What will happen, you'll never be able to get this, you will never see another text after the Ravi because it's the last one, right? So in that case, how the code is going to run, let us see. We're going to find the Ravi, and you see that the Ravi is found, and we're going to move to this one cell. So I'll run this quickly. This is the active cell 1, so we're going to run this quickly one more time. We're going to run this, and now you have the another value which is called the so you have a sum plus 2 plus 1 first of all, and now we are on the blank cell, right? So if you're on the blank cell, this condition will satisfy. That is not satisfy, basically it will come out of the loop because active cell is now empty. So what will happen, it will immediately go to the if part. Now in the end if part, it will stop here. That's it. This is why we have written this active cell not equals to space as well. Now what about, guys, if a user enters something maybe which is not a part of this list? For example, if I write Amy, I press enter, what will happen? You know that when you run this line, the selection.find will give you the error, right? Because it's not found here. So in that case, what you need to do, you need to use the error handler. So maybe you can very smartly can write here on error, and then you can write go to any error handler name you can give. For example, I'm going to give a name called my error, for example. Write whatever you want in this place. So the syntax will remain as it is. This is a VBA syntax. So my error, or maybe you can write your name, whatever you want to do. You have to define it. So what we are doing is we are saying that for any error, it should go actually this part, which is here. So here you can write here the message box, and you can write here not found. Okay, and then you can delete this part which is called the C13, because this is very important for you. Otherwise what will happen if you don't delete this, then the previous value for the Amy, when you press enter, it will look like you have a 163 for the Amy, right? Let me show you this again. So for example, I write here Puneet. Okay, press enter. What happens when I run this code? Let me quickly run this. This will run. So we're gonna run this. There we go, and exits up. So you have a new value which is 23, which is perfect. But the next time if I write here, let's say any other value, for example, I write Abdul, I press enter. Now what will happen? Abdul is not gonna be found here. So what will happen? This line will give you the error, and we have clearly stated that in case of any error, you got to execute the my error part. So these are all what I'm talking about. This is called the error handlers, guys. And if you don't have any information, you want to gain some more information, the basic understanding, please go ahead and check out the Excel VBA introduction series. When you click on that playlist, you will find there a video called a discussion on the error handler, some sort of that title. Just go and watch that, right? So this line gives you the error, and immediately it will go on the my error. And this is what I was talking about, that the message box would come, and it is very important for you to delete the C13. If you will not do that, then what will happen if I just skip this line, for example, like this, then what will happen? The macro will simply exit from here, and it looks like that Abdul has a score of 23, which is wrong. So that is why you need to write this. Okay, so I guess we are through with this code, and what I can do is I can just run this again. And so let me first of all remove some space here so that you can see the code, entire code here. And one more thing I want to tell you. For example, what will happen? There is still a problem. I'll show you. If let us say there is no error in your case. For example, I just again put the break code. For example, I just write here submit. Press enter. Now I'm going to run this quickly. There we go. You see that it's going to run like this. There we go. Else. Have the 163 here, which is coming correct. But what will happen now? Because this time there is no error, but because you have written the entire code in the proper syntax this way, now it's gonna exit from it, right? So if I don't write this exit sub right now, I'm gonna write here F8, right? Exit sub, and the macro finishes. But if you don't write exit sub, then what will happen? This line will also be executed, and so you have to take care of it. So make sure that the macro should always stop, and it should never be on the my error part. It should never be going to be executed on the my error part, right? So because my error should come into action only when there is an error, right? So this is how, so that's why I've written this in advance only, the exit sub, but I'm just trying to tell you the use of it. This is very important. If you don't do that, you will have a problem. Okay, so now let us go ahead and let's quickly run this. So I'm going to write here Annie. You see not found. Okay, and this is what I was talking about, guys. We are removing it. Okay, so I'm going to write here Ravi's. Look at this now. That's what I was talking. Not found. Why it says not found, right? This is very wrong. So we're going to check this now. Again, that's a good exercise for us. So let me just a second. I'm going to remove some backspace here. Okay, so I'll put the break code here. Let us see. So I again enter Ravi, and there we go. So the target address is obviously B13, so we will find the position of the Ravi, and we have found the position, and now we're gonna go on the 1. From the 1, this is obviously not a text, it is a number, so we will have the store value, which is now 1. You can see here I move to the 2, and then again I go back, and this loop will run. Now the next time it runs, it is 3, so we have a new value which is 6. So it is working. Actually must be something, you know, the further I think here somewhere something wrong here in this particular portion. So let's see. Let's go ahead and F8. There we go. Now you're on the blank cell, and the blank cell means that the loop should exit. So when the loop is going to exit, yes, this is I was talking about. When the loop exit, basically what happens, so when I press F8, this will go in the my error part as well. This should not be the case actually. What you should have done here is in this basically end if before this my error, you should have written the exit up here, because if your code is working fine, right, then there's no need to go here, because if you're gonna run this, then it will do the the entire this operation again, all the steps again, right? So we actually designed the error part only for the errors, not for this. So now if I just enter here Ravi again, I press enter, and let me just put the break code here. So a lot of things are supposed to be taken care, guys, when you work on the event, right? They run themselves sometimes. For example, this line, that when I'm changing the value here, when I'm printing this value here, this range C13, it immediately triggered. It triggers and it doesn't go to the exit sub. Anyways, we have a Ravi here, so we're gonna find the Ravi, and there we go. I'm gonna run this quickly. 3 times the loop will run. Now we are on the blank cell. Now once you are on the blank cell, the loop will finish, right? This is what I was talking. Now you need to ensure that before it exit, so again we will have to write this line here as well to take care of the last item, because after Ravi, there will be a blank cell, so this else condition will never run. This else condition we are executing for the values which are coming above their last name, for example for Puneet, Sumit, because then it will be able to execute the else part, because it will find always something which is going to be a text. But in the case of the Ravi, which is the last number, which is the last name, I beg your pardon, you will not find any other text. So what will happen, it will never go in the else mode, and it will always, while looping this, while running this, it will always exit from the loop. And when it exit from the loop, it is your basically you will have to write here the value which you have calculated. So that's what I'm going to write here. The moment I write this line, what happens, again empty cell is changed to 6, so this is going to work here again, and this time the change happened in the C13, so obviously the C13 is not equals to B13. So what will happen now, if you're going to run this again, else, it will go in the else and it will exit from here. There we go, exit sub. Look at this. I think the code works now perfect, right? A lot of things we have taken care of. So I'm going to run this now quickly, AMI. So you have not found, and the AMI is deleted. I'm going to find the Sumit. Okay, there we go, very nice. And you're going to find the Puneet. There we go, 23, and I'm going to write Ravi. There we go, guys, you have your answer. So I can also further go ahead and write something else also. For example, if I write here Ajay 56. Now the moment I write here Ajay, I press enter, you see that I'm gonna have the answer, because your code is selecting this entire column. That's the beauty of this. Okay, and you can also I mean, just in case if you want to run the code fast, you can also write here application, though it is already running quite fast, but still you can, you know, also remove that little bit of this, you know, the basic the screen movement which happens for a fraction of second. So you can put the code here, application screen updating equals to false. But before you stop the macro, don't forget to write here that application dot screen updating equals to true, otherwise it will always remain in the false mode, right? So I'm going to copy this, and you're going to put it wherever you think it should come. Actually, I think it should come here as well. So you're going to write here, because this may not be running if you don't have error. This portion will never run, right? So that case, this screen updating will not run. Okay, so maybe you can write here as well, and that's it, guys. And so I think we are done with this. Let us just test this again. So you have a Java is not found. I'm gonna write here Venkat. You see that it's not found, and I'm gonna write Abdul. Maybe you see that it's not there, so I'm gonna write Alam. So it works actually, right? So that's how you can make this basically I would say it's a little complicated task, right? Because in the events it's generally not so easy to work with, but I tried my best to explain you. And if you have watched the basic video on the events parts, I'm sure this code would have made a lot of sense to you. Okay, so this is how it is, and let me just remove some more space so that you can see the entire code on this screen. You can pause the video, and so I'm going to just use the backspace here. Yeah, that's it. I think this is what it's all about, this entire code. Alright guys, so that's it now, and we'll be meeting soon with some another project very soon. Until then, you take care of yourself, have a fantastic learning, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.